Hello, everyone.
Hello there.
Today is the celebration of Sebastian's life or memorial service, and we've been focusing on Sebastian and his health and his death now for uh, 2 weeks or so. But we thought of, before moving on, uh, maybe just to stand still a little bit longer with that and also look at the impact the passing of somebody has on one's own life, in looking at one's life
Mm.
and reevaluating things and what you are busy with, the way we live our lives. So we thought, maybe as a last tribute to Sebastian and what he has meant in our lives and his impact, to look a little bit uh, into that issue.
Mm. Yeah, I think personally, I've always felt that when somebody has a long life and they pass away, that you feel, um, generally, you feel they've had a good life, they've lived a long time, and um, it's not, it's sort of expected. Um,
Mm.
but then when somebody passes away at 40 years or younger, then you feel the loss of uh, what they could maybe still have contributed to life.
Mm.
You feel on top of the loss you feel personally for the person that will no longer be there for their presence, but in terms of lifespan, you feel that um, we've lost somebody that could have meant a lot. So in terms of that, I have that deep, heartfelt feeling of loss of that, um, and yeah, just thinking about life then, about how how fragile life is and how quickly life can be over. And what do I do with this? What do I do with my life? What do I do with my days?
Mm.
How do I live my days? Do I really appreciate every day that I'm healthy? I don't have pain. I have energy. Do I really know what a privilege that is in many ways?
Mm.
Um, and to just re-examine the way that I go through life. Um,
Mm. And often we have this idea because it is this potential that's there, and you say a fairly early death, there's a loss of potential as to what could have been, and so on. It is there. But then also looking at our own lives, um, as to what is meaningful in what we do and what we are leaving behind.
mm,
Uh,
mm, mm,
our legacy, in a sense.
mm,
But often we have these grand schemes in terms of that.
mm,
We were saying we would talk about projects that we've achieved, hydroelectric scheme that I was involved in. Only if you're involved in something like that, that is worthwhile. Or establishing peace in Southeast Asia, or something like that. We have these grand schemes, um, but in actual fact, it starts very close by in our daily life and with the people in our lives.
mm.
Um, I was thinking we didn't mention that in the Afrikaans recording, but Annie Dillard said, and of course, how we spend our days is how we spend our lives.
Yes, exactly.
How we live
Yeah.
this day and this moment in all the small acts of love. And I think the love component is very, very important in that. But in this present moment, how do I live fully present, fully alive? Um, and that, we're not saying you have to be on top of the world all the time.
No, no. I think that's actually the challenge is that
Mm,
even in very difficult circumstances, to be fully present in that is uh, is to to be fully alive. I think
Yes.
it's a difficult concept. We often think in terms of good and bad, easy and difficult, but it doesn't mean that if something is difficult that it isn't alive. It's life, and to live life to the full in the circumstances. I think that is the challenge, and that is where the potential really comes to the fore, isn't it? If we look at Sebastian's life and all the many messages that we got on all the mediums, the social media, the calls we got, pages and pages of messages, and he wasn't aware of the impact that he had on people's lives, that people took notice of him, that his energy, that his spirit, that his gentleness and his it was coming across. And yeah, it's in those ways that I think that we change the world, that we change consciousness around us.
Yeah, we never know when we are creating a memory.
Yeah.
And it's small acts of kindness. And often we say we might be busy in our days and somebody pops up constantly in your thoughts and you think of somebody. And often we have to
follow up. Yeah.
And
it's not for nothing.
Yeah, and phone somebody and just saying, I'm thinking of you, how are things doing, or how are you doing? That means a lot. That involvement in each other's lives. We see that in a time of mourning also, the involvement of people, how meaningful that is.
And then also just the whole, you were talking about love, but doing what you love.
Yes.
Doing what brings you alive. And again, just thinking about that. Am I busy with things that truly make me feel alive? Because if I'm doing that, then I'm putting out what I was meant to be doing. And is it Howard Thurman's quote?
Yeah.
Please give it to us.
Where he said,
correctly.
Do not ask what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive and go and do that, because what the world needs is people who have come alive. And when we live passionately, even if we do small things, in terms of the grander scheme, keeping a garden, loving your pets,
chopping vegetables.
Yes.
Sebastian loved chopping vegetables because it was all about how quickly you could chop and your technique, and he had that down pat. He could really chop well, and he
would love and he would watch cooking videos, but if the chef couldn't chop, well, sorry.
No, not worth my effort. But so and just that, seeing him doing something that he really enjoyed doing, and I think that, and it sounds like a very little thing, but it was, it's just beautiful to watch, and to witness something when it happens from that alive place. Or we would sit and page through recipe books and he would go, oh my God, just listen to this recipe. And then he would read the recipe, and it was just this drooling all over the page almost.
We always said if somebody were to stand out of eyesight but within listening range at the front door, it might sound like a revival service because goodness, uh, yeah, and it's
Oh,
good.
that's a lovely memory.
It is good to witness somebody enjoying things, and I think that's what we should do. We should, in the small things, live passionately.
Yeah, and I think that's. I was listening to a video of a 103-year-old holistic doctor, and what she basically says is that love infused into everything about life.
Yes,
Life, listening, laughter, labor makes a difference.
yes, yes. And without that, so easily it's just slogging
Yeah,
and hardship.
yeah.
Yeah, so thank you so much for all the messages after last week's conversation and all the support we've received. We always thank you for that, but it really means so much to us, and we are very privileged to celebrate Sebastian's life today. Not easy, but we're very grateful that we loved him and that we can do this today. But thank you very much for being part of this conversation and of being part of our lives.
Keep well, everyone.
Bye bye.